you've been in this meeting, you haven't seen it. So I'm gonna just add a few elements. Today I had a really frustrating day. But before we carry on, I don't know if Chimo, if you need to stop recording and start again to have a double video you
I
edit.
just did, yeah. It's
All
okay.
right, awesome. Um, and then we have something that we need to talk about because on our Discord somewhere, let me see if I find it, in our um there is a there's a part of our community. So we have our community leaders group. Dustin was suggesting to add a bot inside Discord that would collect data and analyze data for us inside the Discord chats and so on. There is a utility connected to this, but there is also some stuff that we need to discuss. Maybe we wait for Dustin to join and see if we can discuss. If he's not going to join, we discuss another moment. Um, but yeah, so before we start, as usual, we have a moment for the community to share if they have any exciting things happening, anything they want to share about this human AI collaboration from the AI, from the tech perspective. Again, raise your hands if you want to say anything. Mm, okay, Xavier, go ahead.
Um, are you able to repeat that? So, what is what it is that you like to discuss? Or...
So usually this day was today Wednesday. We discuss the human AI
Mhm.
interaction, but from the tech aspect. So it's not the human aspect that we talk about, more about how the tech works and so on. So in this case, for example, today I had such a terrible day working with AI
Mm.
because for whatever reason, it was not capable of doing things that were actually easier of the things that I was doing yesterday. Okay, and this is, I mean, we saw this over and over. Is those frontier model that get optimized, so they save a little bit of token, they diminish a little bit the intelligence, and they keep basically the threshold where we still pay the subscription, but they give us the little as possible necessary. And because it's an experiment, they probably try different level at different kind of countries to get some data and then make decision. And maybe I was in the country that they overdid it today, and therefore was completely unusable. So GPT 5.6 was unusable today, and was was so stressful. I had to do some important things were not difficult, but I needed to do it to fix my recording system because I couldn't shoot a video. So I needed to do it. Normally I would probably take 10 minutes. I spent more than an hour trying to do this thing. So I was extremely frustrated. So as I can see here, okay, I'm talking about my frustration. In reality, it's the problem is the technology itself. Okay, so that is what we should talk about. This interaction with AI, and sometimes goes wrong. For example, in my case, because the AI changed, the infrastructure changed. So that is more or less the idea of the theme. I couldn't make it more simple and clear for everybody to understand, but these are
No,
our
it's clear.
okay.
Because yeah, that was also my experience today. I just tried to hook up to micro MIG-tech switches, and oh my God, it was it was just an endless. If I wasn't there, it would go on for days, and we wouldn't get anywhere. So I get that. So for me, it is very clear. I can't work with frontier models. It's just crazy. Well, at least in terms of if you want to install tech and software, forget about it. It's hopeless. So so all my errors, or the errors that a frontier model makes, all ends up in a what I call a dummy book, and it is full. It is a big book. So for me, it's clear. I want to go local, and I think my perspective is that it has to be relatable to me. Otherwise, answers don't make any sense. So I'm building my own small language model. I put in all my data, all me. And not only that, I bought smart glasses. So with Cosmos 3, I can integrate everything. I can adjust my weights on every level, and I can record myself in sense of that my language model will learn me, only me. And the moment it can predict me in some way, then I am on the right track. Then if I prompt something, I will get an answer back that is mine. Because I don't need whatever YouTube, I don't need Facebook, I don't need whatever. So I don't want junk in my language model. And I think that's the only way. And then I create an avatar for myself. So I also have a digital presentation of myself. So, and that is also the only thing that no one can ever ship, and that is me or you. You know, they can generalize everything, but not you and not me. So I have to build myself, and I want to make that available to others as well. So if I succeed, I can make rooms for everyone. It's like, okay, you have my voice in the beginning, but the moment you start interacting more and more and more, then you create your own language model. That's it. And then you can go out and then you can experiment and do whatever. But I think without that, I don't know. I don't trust any frontier model at this stage.
I'm yeah, I mean, I don't trust AI in general, and what I trust about the local model is they are stable. What it is gonna stay there. It's not gonna move. If changes because I changed. That is something that you can build upon. Okay, the moment that is on that stability, you can build. But on AI, that yesterday was doing something incredibly good. Yesterday did something insane. Okay, and the same model today cannot do it anything. Okay, I can't use it for anything. Just insane. That is so unreliable. That unreliability is dangerous, especially if you build a business around it. Cannot be that one day you're safe and the other day you are, you break your relationship with your customer, you destroy your company basically because you gave this AI too much power. But thank you. Chimo, you also had your hands up. I don't know if you wanted to share anything.
Well, I I was asking exactly the opposite. I have a bunch of students, young women in Uganda, and I wanted to ask what frontier model should I use with them? Because because yeah, like 6 months from now, hopefully I would be, sharing Resonant OS with them. But right now, what I want is for them to familiarize themselves with some of the aspects of working with AI. And I would use Gemini because even on the free version, they can still build their own agents and they can understand some of the structures that would be useful. But after listening to all of you, I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, this kind of optimization is done by any of those large corporations. Everybody needs to optimize and make, and somehow I understand. Okay, it's expensive to run, but what they do is they start extremely powerful. Everybody's excited, benchmark are done. Everybody's talking about amazing about what they can do, and then they optimize and they downgrade what they can do, and after they get all the publicity and so on. So if it's about going for free, in reality, there are also, I don't know how challenges it is, but if you install something like OpenCode, then you can select the free model. This OpenCode is much more powerful than what you can do with Gemini. So that is an option. And then you have free models that you can try. They always keep changing those free models. Uh, if they are willing to pay, what I would do personally, I would go for GLM 5.2. It's cheap and amazing, and it's free from those large corporation abuse kind of environment. That's at least what I would do. But yeah, if it's free, do your best, Chimo.
Well, what I want is to use all that I'm learning here to explain to them that if you use this and it's functional and it gives you a lot, don't expect it to be reliable. Know that you will need to jump models as they play with
Yeah.
you and your feelings. But at least I have this, all that I earn from being here, so I can pass it on and say, this is just for you to learn how to operate in the AI systems, how to build your agents, how to start thinking about structuring things, etc. So for me, it's really useful. I understand that for all of you that you're trying to do what you're trying to do, it's not the same world. But I'm talking about women that are in Uganda and halfway through the meeting, two or three drop out because of problems with the connection or because, whatever it is. So it's still really useful for me what I get from here.
Yeah. So, Chimo, try this thing. What I would do, if you can, try to install yourself without any help from any one of us. Install OpenCode and try to see if you can use it. If you can use it, then you can teach them these two paths. One is the corporation, and the other is the open source. Okay, as so they see the world in two different ways. If they want to be free, open source. Okay, it's that simple. Otherwise, they go into the other scenario. That is free, convenient, and powerful, and so on. But at least they can see the reality. Chris, go ahead.
Actually, part of the presentation I intended today for the AI stack was subscriptions. So the cheapest way to try it out, Google AI Plus, $5 a month. It's for trying out is the best solution. The other alternative would be, of course, to well, it's kind of debatable. Like, yeah, the free models with OpenCode, Kilocode, that works just as well.
Thank you, Chris. Chris, again, go.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I have had actually opposite experience with frontier models. I found like in the beginning, they used to smooth over a lot of the inconsistencies and make assumptions for me. And it just so happened that the assumptions were what I wanted. But as I've gotten smarter, they've gotten better at just literally taking instructions. So I found that in order for me to get the results that I wanted, I had to develop like a translation layer, so where I have my main agent, like Manolo has his augmenter or as an orchestrator. So I would teach that one how to interpret me. And when I say this, I mean that, and consistently so that it understands my tone. And then I would have that generate instructions for me based on like how I need the instructions to be. So we developed a template of what kind of context needs to go in. And I could just like brain dump everything I want, and then it will structure the instructions for me. And then I input that into my frontier models, and I've been getting amazing results. So there's an extra translation layer, but you need to teach the system what you mean when you say certain things, and then you could just speak freely. Otherwise, it will feel like it's getting dumber. they're autistic. They just take you literally at face value. What you mean, you say that's what you actually meant. So if you're like not talking like that, I have a hard time doing that exactly. So I use the tool to help me structure the data. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and it's true. And it's true about this translation system in the sense you need to be clear and consistent and know how to prompt those models. But what I'm talking about was no, my inconsistency was to the phrase fix it, kind of a phrase, okay, just to simplify. But to the phrase fix it, they sometimes, yesterday they would fix it, today they would break it. Okay, that is the consistency that I'm talking about. But yeah, it's, yeah, totally agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think any time if you say fix it and it works, it's just a coincidence that they happen to understand what you mean. But I found to conceptualize my interactions with AI, and even if I have a persistent character, it has a script in order to stay that way. What a model is like Mr. Meeseeks. If you've ever seen Rick and Morty, where you press the Meeseeks button and a new one pops up, and they say, "Oh, hey, this is who I am," and then somebody has to say, "Hey, this is who you're supposed to be." But each one of them doesn't know what the other one knows. It has to be relearned every single time. So it does its task, it disappears, and another one comes up. If they happen to see the same thing and make the same decision, that's like a coincidence. It's not like the default. So you have to put instructions of like, when you see this, always do these things. Or when I say fix it, look for this, that, and that. And it could be a formula where it's not hard coded, but it's like, this is what I want you to do when I say fix it. And then it triggers a workflow. So that could be Markdown still. It doesn't have to be a code. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But first, I make them
It's tedious. It's annoying.
yeah, but I do the diagnostic first and see what's the problem. Okay, this is the problem. Now fix it. Okay, and that's all I'm asking. So, or did the wrong diagnostic that is possible, or it just doesn't have the skill to fix something that it can actually diagnose. So it's not like I just say fix it. Okay, it's broken, fix it. I do some work, but nevertheless, what you're saying is totally true. I'm just saying that it's not enough. The inconsistency is not connected just to you. You're not always the wrong. Okay, it's sometimes there's two elements in the equation. You prompting, preparing the context and so on, and then there is the AI, which you don't control, someone else control, and they optimize, they change it, they route the signal, they do whatever they want with their model. Okay, they need to run experiment because it's important for them, and so they will run experiment, and they will do as every social network, every company, they do localized. So they might test. I don't know, whatever country to see what's happen and see if they get frustrated or not.
Oh, I understand what you're saying. So it's just like the way that you were anticipating the model to be, they had changed the settings on the back end.
Yeah, and
I
therefore,
understand.
it doesn't matter what you say. It's they changed it, so you need to prompt it differently. Or maybe you lost some capabilities, and therefore that thing cannot be happen, cannot be done anymore. It's and
I
today,
understand.
honestly, I'm not kidding. Yesterday, I was asking really advanced things. Today was not advanced. Was important, but not advanced. Okay, and it couldn't do it. It couldn't manage to do
Yeah.
it. It managed to break it
Yeah.
even more. That's what it managed to do.
So what you're saying is like the model is not the same from day to day or from place to place. Yeah, it's like it's not. It's yeah.
That's what I'm
I get
saying.
it.
They
Yeah,
change some elements, some parameters. It's like a quantization, for example. They change the quantization of something, and therefore now you have a different model.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to do like an MP3 and figure out how much can they take away before people complain.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're auto scaling. They're definitely auto scaling, and people are. It's not just human though. There's a lot of people, trying to quantify that, and it's downgrading. It's turning off number of parameters. They're trying to adjust the system to deal with the scaling, and I don't think they're doing a good job.
They got to be profitable when they, go public. Otherwise, the shareholders will destroy them, and their IPO will be a flop. that's the bubble pop. So somehow they got to figure out how to detune this thing to a point where it doesn't, like right now, your subscription, you are milking it. So this is the cheapest AI inference you're going to ever get right now. And it's where they're pulling the strings tight on you.
Yeah, and what will happen is the larger context, the larger, parameter sizes, they just basically turn down some of them. They turn off certain inputs, and essentially they throttle. It's a
They just did that with
sophisticated.
5.6. Yep. 5.6 just took like 30% of your context window away.
Yeah, yeah, and they do these things quietly, and when you look at them from an AI model perspective, you're like, wow, they're just, they're doing it, and they're not really telling anybody. I mean, they're telling us, but they're not telling us, right? So it's kind of hidden in the technicalities, but they are scaling, they are throttling, and that's what we're experiencing.
Sorry, I was talking. And yeah, I would say, yeah, exactly. It's good to in somehow see that I'm not the only one, but I'm sorry that you are also going through this nightmare. I don't know if anyone wants to share, even from a different perspective, but this human AI collaboration. I also see that Dustin joined. So later on, if you're not leaving soon, Dustin, we should talk about what you said about the bot for Discord.
Please. Yeah, I'd like to. I'll be on for at least the full hour. I'm in the car.
So anyone
I
wants
think
to?
that happened to me was like I had a lot of guardrails on my skills, and now it's impossible to work because every one of them are working, and I have to be of confirming and refreshing a lot of things, and it's been really hard to work. But one of the things that was good because of this, now it can route one skill after another really well, better than before. So I'm having these problems right now with Sol update.
Yeah, I've been through this thing, not solved the problem, but I know what you're talking about. Because at the beginning we had this model that were kind of extremely idiots. Basically, you needed to give really precise instruction, really precise guardrails. Otherwise, they would do just a mess constantly. So you build all those things, and then they start to perform a decent way. Now, new model, they don't need so much control, and therefore your guardrails, your protocols, and so on actually become noise within the system, and therefore actually create problems. And therefore you need to update and see, shall I keep this one? Shall I move this one, change this other? The problem here is that when you have, like 50, hundreds of those protocols, then even just managing them, it's a lot of work. So I feel your pain, Vlad.
Yeah,
Yeah, I am trying to stay lean, and think I have 50 of them. I don't know if it's 50, but I use than most because I create a lot of routers and orchestrators. So I just have one skill that's to create artifacts and create a lot of different artifacts. Then I have a decision skill and another one so only for executing tasks. Yeah, I think most of and sub-agent strategy. I think it's most what I use. Luckily, because if I had a lot of more, yeah, it'd be a hell.
Uh, Herman.
Yeah, this is I came a bit later, but I noticed you guys are talking about skills and stuff. It kind of fits where I am right now. I'm in the process of cleaning up all my skills. I would develop them during my work process. I have certain skills for when I do like client projects, and then I have certain skills when I do my personal stuff. Some of the skills help me store context because eventually I would have to store the whole state of all my repos and stuff in my head, for example, or certain processes. I notice even with the really strong models, they really work best when not necessarily guardrailed, but governed. So I have like a very like strict process where I create contracts, so I treat them like as legal contracts, and they have one source of truth that eventually things crystallize towards, and that then becomes the backbone. Because I noticed AI likes to, even though you give it artifacts, it likes to go and do stuff from its memory. So certain guardrails, even for the strong, big models, I use that to prevent them from using, for example, memory. I have, for example, one skill that I have is basically just for inquiring about what's happening right now. What have we decided on? What's next? And that's been working really good for me so far because it really constrains everything. And what I then did was, because eventually I had a lot of skills on my local, and it took up a lot of space. And every time the model was loaded, um, I had to took a lot of context, so I turned it all into its own skill repo connected with some binaries and things like that. So my whole skill files went from, I would say before it was around 300 megabytes to somewhere around 50 megabytes or even less right now. And they're just hooked into like my codex and my what's it called? My Claude. So that's been working really well for me. And even now, when I played around with Grok, I noticed it uses them. So it's becoming, I have this like environment now on my laptop where the the agents that I have versus on my partner, they behave much more differently. So I think part of the ecosystem that we have when it comes to harness engineering, I think this falls into like harnessing, that also becomes part of that ecosystem. So that's where I'm at right now in the topic of skills. And like the colleague said, like chaining them together and aligning them with the workflow. I think that's really important also for us, that we have to systematize or standardize our approach to working with AI. Because in the end, we're the bottleneck. What we put in determines what comes out, no matter how good the AI model is.
Thank you. But I don't like to, personally, this is me, I don't like to see myself as the bottleneck. I think if I'm I don't know. I find that sometimes AI is not fast enough, it's not intelligent enough to actually match me, and therefore I don't feel like I'm the bottleneck. I can give AI so many ideas. It just AI is so slow in building what I ask. So I don't know. I don't see myself as a bottleneck, but I understand your perspective. Uh, one thing about this is they call it a garbage in, garbage out. Okay, I wrote about this months ago. Uh, I think it's the wrong narrative. Okay, I give garbage to AI. AI should tell me, look, this is garbage. I'm not gonna work on it. Let's improve your input and let's fix it. So I don't give you garbage out because that is not augmenting you. This is just giving you slop. That's what AI should do. So this is my. So I don't want to accept the idea of we are the bottleneck. It's if AI work on garbage, that is AI problems. It's not really just mine. This is my approach. Nevertheless, at the moment, we need to give quality input because otherwise we have just garbage out. Chris, go ahead.
I wanted to tell Herman, so first of all, you should use profiles. It seems like that would solve your problem. And then you can prune the skills list and the tools list and everything related list to suit the profile. In that way, you're gonna save some input tokens, but it's not really that bad. However, it should behave differently. when you just use one profile for one task or one type of task, and that's it. So you should get better output. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks.
May I ask, what do you mean with profile?
So what agentic harnesses do you use?
I see my whole I don't really use specific harnesses. I
Do you
usually
use
look at
Hermes, OpenClaw, or coding harnesses, or what?
yeah, what I do is like for my agentic coding, I took a look at in the beginning it was what was called from OpenAI, orchestrate, what was it called? Symphony, but I didn't use it. I just used it to remodel it. So I call my own orchestra. So it manages my my coding. And then I have different, you know, for the stages of my process when I plan, I created a crystallization system and then to create my artifacts. And then, like I said, I have a Oracle system that I then place locally, which is like the center of truth so that the AIs don't have to make up stuff. And then I created a specific repo and tied all my skills together with some binaries that
I'm
so
sorry,
that the
I didn't realize that you have reinvented AI in your home lab. But if you use standard agentic harnesses like Hermes,
okay.
the easiest way to do is create different profiles and then trim the profiles according to your needs.
Oh, I got you. I
Uh,
got you. I understand what you mean now. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that would help with the behavior because then you can use each different profile for different types of tasks, and they can become more focused on the specific task instead of generalized, and then you get all kinds of slop in between. Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally true. My wife did that. She likes Hermes. She did that for we have for our production side with clients. We have a client portal. So when we build the stuff, instead of working in WhatsApp and stuff like that, they would always bomb us in WhatsApp, this bug, that bug. We created like a client portal, so the stuff goes in there and then it gets ingested by Hermes, and then we have different profiles that you know, turn them into tasks and those things. So yeah, definitely that really improved the performance. You're right. Thank you.
Thank you, Herman. And just to clarify, guys, I think what Herman's saying is he's using primarily skills that he's pulling down, like the repo symphony, which is a wave orchestration. He's just using that and then putting it into his IDE. Is that right, Herman? Pretty much all skills.
Can you repeat that? It was a little bit muffled. Can you repeat what you said?
I was saying that you're primarily just using skills inside of the IDEs, correct? You're using like Symfony, which is your wave orchestration, and you've got some other skills that you're using.
Well, I used elements of Symfony, and then I recreated my own kind of like orchestrator called Orchestra, and it basically manages the skills. That's right. And it can run the stuff autonomously. It knows which ones to run. But I also hooked the skills into, I use different gates inside that I connect to Git inside of the system, because I have a certain workflow when I code locally. And then before I push it to dev for my team and others to work on. And so that's like in my personal space, like I'm my harness, as you could call it, that I'm creating. So skills are a part of it. I started with normal like monolith skills in the beginning, but then I realized that some processes span over multiple steps, and they have to create artifacts in the process that are needed to produce the actual outcome or output of those skills. And those artifacts would blow up the whole context of even a 1 million context agent. And so I found this guy, he's called Cliff something. He wrote a paper. It's called the ICP method, like folders as agent. So instead of having state live in the agent, you produce these like a folder structure steps, and each stage has its own contracts, input, throughput, and output. And so my skills that I build are more like multi-step. Some of them are like multi-folder stage and like contract managed things, artifacts. And so my agent manages those. And so, yeah, it's a mixture of those, using like the orchestra is for my loops when I have to loop stuff. And then the skills are for certain parts of my workflows when I have to do some stuff that I have to input and produce certain artifacts that I need for the next steps.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Z7 Lab.
Excuse me?
No, I was calling for someone else that I have his hands raised.
Yeah. I guess lately I've been trying to like shift all my harnessing and everything to like maybe the lowest common denominator. And I was wondering if other people are kind of doing the same thing, to where if I could get my processes working with models that are like 27B in that range, ones that I can run decently, and then trying to like optimize for that. And so that way I know like a model, like you were saying, Manolo, that they can't switch a model. So if it's like a local model, I'm running like my processes on my harnessing and all that stuff, that I can still get work done accurately with that like level of model. Does that make sense? I don't know if anybody else is like, using local AI, because I'm so afraid to like build something that relies on a frontier model with like million context window, and then like I can't really shove that in there if that goes away, kind of thing. So anyway, I was just looking for, anybody's opinion if they've had some good experience with that or they're doing anything similar.
Yeah, I'm working on building something like that right now. I have a tool called the Codex Runner that pretty much uses like a prompt to do like an audit. It's not prompt, it's like a JSON thing, but to do an audit, and then it gets like the information it needs and it starts to build like campaigns and tasks based on like what it finds. There's a loop manager inside. But the whole point is to gather context and then break it down into the smallest sections, and then have models go and do just the individual atomic tasks. But you have like a task list, and then every single like loop or task that it does, it makes like a summary. It gives you the prompt that it uses, and then a summary of what was done afterwards. And then there's like an alphanumeric code for like each one as it gets done. So like you can just let it run, and it'll do loops like 10, 15 cycles, however you want, and then it'll have like a long list of receipts. I'm still working on it, but it's something that you could just kind of plug into any provider, and like it should work with like smaller models too. But if people want to help me test it out, like I'm open to collaborators and stuff. It's free and everything.
Yeah, and Chris he's pretty far along on that. I think I'm giving myself an echo. Sorry.
There's a couple nice skills and go ahead.
Yeah, so just to chime in regards to using local models and not being, I think you said not being dependent on the frontier models. I hit that space as well recently, and I was trying to look at like what are the capabilities of these local models, in terms of how much to which scale can I increase my compute and my flops in terms of my budget, and what can I what can I, how much independence can I get with that? And then I realized that in the end, from my philosophy, and that's what I meant with that, I'm the bottleneck right now, just in terms of paradigm. I realized that, yeah, so the local models they have, if you have something like the gentleman just now described, where he has a process where he breaks down basically bigger tasks into like atomic pieces or slices, and then has the harness manage the execution of those atomic tasks. That works really well for smaller models. But I realized there's certain tasks, there'll always be the need for like the frontier models, and there'll always be a place for smaller models. So within my harnesses as well, I used to always just use the biggest model because I thought that's the best one for everything. But I realized sometimes I don't need reasoning. Sometimes, if, like you said just now, if you have a way to break down the process into like really good atomic tasks, and you have a good way of describing the contracts for those tasks, then instead of a Opus 4.8, you can even use a Sonnet 5 to do the coding for that. And then there's a different place then for us for a Opus or for a frontier model. Like I use the frontier models for planning because they just come with that huge brain and capability to plan. Because I did some unit economics the other day to see how much it would cost me to run, for example, a Kimi 2.5 or the new Kimi 3 right now. And honestly, it just doesn't pan out so in that regard. So I kind of just see it like, depending on what you do, local models have their place, but you have to manage them well, like your harnesses. And then, frontier models just still have their role in place within that production pipeline, in my opinion.
Thank you. There is Dustin that is driving, but I think he wanted to talk, so he can raise his hand, I guess.
Yeah, so I forgot. I didn't want to interrupt earlier. I forgot now. Sorry.
All right, all right. I want to just add something about this local AI. And so, personally, when I have something specific that I do all the time, in reality, I don't even build a skill. What I do, I create a software. The software stay there. It's half deterministic, half leverage AI, and always works. Okay, you build a software, a micro software, and it does the job all the time without the need of talking with AI or asking. I just to make a quick, I plug my recorder to my computer, and automatically the AI start operating on my audio, translating, transcribing, uh, applying the protocol, fixing the transcription, and doing all the work until the file is ready and is inside my Obsidian vault. Finished. So it's not that I ask, I need to talk with AI. Plug it, recognized, and done in the background, everything by local model. Uh, Vlad, go ahead.
Yeah, in regards of Z7 said, I am in the process of creating this benchmark that will kind of have a target that is a well done result from a prompt. And then I will get the models to see how the attention will behave and how the answers differs. And I think the road that I am going, it's kind of like splitting the skill in sub-agents so you can handle the context better and isolate it so you can have a skill that is broken in a lot of mini sub-agents executions that will, I think, somehow improve the way it works on smaller models. That's my hypothesis about it, and probably I'll test later. So I don't know if anyone already tried this strategy.
What strategy? Say that one more time.
Yeah, the idea is like when you have a skill that works on a frontier and it's big and you need to work on a small model, you can split this skill execution in multiple sub-agents that have better context handle, and then you consolidate everything again. So you can try to see if splitting like this will provide the same result that a frontier model. I don't know.
Yeah, I could try that. I also I've seen people using like the build skills where they have the frontier model like Codex or Claude call local models, using Olama or something as like a tool, so they'll decide and then they say, okay, boop, 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 using the CLI, and then pull it back into the context window and finish the job. So that's a shortcut to try it out. I've seen that as a trend. I haven't tried it yet. So.
The way
like
of
if you have
execution.
Codex,
Go ahead, yes.
just to the tool call, yeah, like I have Claude will call to Codex and Grok to do code review, and because those are in the CLI, it can just natively call to those, and then doing like an adversarial review with a different model is always better than reviewing with the model that you built the thing with. So yeah, you can tool call. Those two are easy, and then yes, you can definitely tool call to Olama or whatever your local harness is to call your local models to run specifics, and having that frontier orchestrated is much better.
Thank you. Sam, go ahead.
I was going to say, I kind of went the opposite of about 3 or 4 months back. I basically said, okay, I'm just going to stop developing my harness. So at this point, whatever attempts I make at making a harness and making it do stuff, I basically switched over to Codex, went and got the 200 max AI subscription, and then just went nuts and decided to myself, okay, you know what? I'm just going to use it to build things. I spent about 6 months trying to actually build my harness so that I could build stuff, and realized I was just churning around and around and around again, and realized, hey, in 6 months, I've spent like 3 hours plus every day on my computer trying to get this thing to work. I have nothing to show. I have built nothing. And then I switched over to Codex, and I had, and so I was doing OpenClaw, I was doing Hermes, I was doing all these kinds of stuff, and I switched over to Codex, and I basically started just going completely native. Absolutely everything I did was dedicated into whatever Codex was doing, and I realized that the advances that I was looking for were coming anyway. Like I went, and so in the last 3 weeks, what I've been doing is I've been going on to ChatGPT, going on to ChatGPT Live, dictating a conversation back and forth with a complete orchestration process of what I want to build. Then I go on to Codex, and I just go on to the ChatGPT chat, and I say convert to work, and then that takes that conversation, converts it into a Codex thing, takes the context immediately, and says, cool, now we're going to build the thing. And I've already done all of the discussion about exactly what I want to build. I've had an agent talk back and forth with me as a sounding board to say exactly what I want to build and how I want to build it and what it wants to look like. And then Codex has turned around and said, cool, I now have all of the context, and now we're going to build the project. And of course, there's iteration, there's further things. But, I can turn around and I can say, cool, we've got an impasse, or we've got a point where I don't understand, or we've got a this, or we've got a that. I just shove it back into the ChatGPT chat, get back in my car, do another commute, and I'm talking for another hour, doing the back and forth thing, having the sounding board, and then I put that conversation back in and say, cool, new context, new information, new changes, whatever, and I just do that again and again and again, and it's been working really well. And I've actually been building stuff. So as Manolo says, when he has something he wants to sort out, he just builds a piece of software. So I've got like 5 or 10 pieces of software now that I've got on my computer that I didn't have 3 weeks ago, that now are actually functionally working towards what I want to achieve. So as an example, this was something when Chris mentioned that we were going to talk about subscriptions today. This was something that I was going to bring up, but I'll bring it up now just as a teaser. OpenAI have been doing some weird stuff when it comes to resets. So they've been giving you resets when you add a friend, and they just throw them out like candy anyway. But they do some really weird stuff when it comes to when you actually have your reset on your account for your subscription. meaning you'll start your month and it'll say you're on the 14th of July and your next reset is on the 21st. Cool. Now you go real heavy and you use crazy and you're like, oh man, I've got run out of credits. Reset button. You use the manual hit for reset button. Sweet. And now it'll say reset on the 28th. Okay, understood. Or whatever the date is. But what'll happen, and you won't even know this because it won't tell you, is that reset was going to happen on the 21st. It happens anyway. And you don't know it, and it just happens. I'm like, oh, crap. And then what happens is it now says reset on the 31st. But the reset that it also said from the tape that you hit the reset button, and it said reset on the 28th, that one also happens. So what actually happens is you end up, when you hit the reset button, you end up with this shifted, phased reset schedule that happens. So I hit a reset button on the start of July, and I actually had 2 sets of resets that happened every week. And so what I've been doing now is, firstly, I had Codex go back, and it has all of the data. So it's able to see at any point in time, it can see, like it takes a snapshot of on this day, and it says, when is your next reset? And so I use that to build a map to say, well, all right, what's your prediction for the next reset? And so it actually says, I had a reset yesterday on the 22nd, and it says, you know what? I have a 25% confidence that you're going to have a reset on today, the 23rd at 1 p.m. And I'm going to see what it's going to do. So what I did was I had a process. I'm doing a lot of churning of data, and basically at any point in time I can turn it on and it'll use a ridiculous, like hundreds of millions of tokens of credit. So what I did was I said, all right, run that program and run until I have 30%, just to beat the crap out of my tokens. And now at 1 p.m. today, I'm going to see what happens. If I get a reset, fantastic. If I don't, I'm only 3 days away from my next one anyway, my next proper one. But the point is that this program now will predict, based on my history, based on my resets, when the next one is coming, because I was consistently getting, like, I didn't know any of this was happening, and basically what would happen is I would have a reset, and then I would do some stuff, and 12 hours later, a day later, whatever it was, I'd be like, what the hell? It reset. And I realized I've lost 90% of my value. I didn't even realize that value was gone until, because the reset was unknown, it wasn't coming. And this is purely a current quirk of the fact that OpenAI just don't have their information, their data, and their policies really in order, both in like how they operate with who they're going to communicate with about their resets and their policies, and the fact that someone up there probably says, oh, actually, you know what, we shouldn't be flooding with so many available tokens. So this is me thinking, well, maybe I can both take advantage of it and clear up the system for my own information.
Amazing. Amazing. You're such a hacker. Incredible work. And share when you have something precise, maybe share with the data, with the community. Thank you.
I can do
that. Chris, go ahead.
Well, thank you for sharing that. It's one of those cases. You know, it sounds like the dealer is using too much of his own product. So it's the good form of AI slop. So I think I vote for more AI slop when it comes to billing systems. But Vlad, I wanted to talk about your using smaller models for skills and pipelines in general. So the proper way to go about it is that, you know, depending on the actual task that you want to process, you know, like you shoot for the smallest one, and then you design it according to that one. And if you get a smarter one, bigger one, you know, it's all good. And that's the way that I would approach designing skills. But if you already have an existing skill, you know how to convert it for use with a lesser or smaller model. It's probably easier to just create a new skill and you know, just go through the process of checking how it turns out, than splitting the existing skills or butchering it in order to fit the platform, the LLM that you want to use. So that would be my approach.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. What we could change topic because we have something else that we need to look into, which is Dustin idea of adding a bot inside Discord to collect some data. So before we actually discuss it, let's have Dustin explain what he has in his mind.
Sure. So what I've been doing is, and you guys have probably seen my agent pop up. It's my name, that agent. And I've been building a specific database, RAG layer essentially for the augmentism community, and including our Discord, our YouTube, and I've also grabbed all of Manolo's YouTube as part of the RAG layer. And then that agent, that when it's in, is listening to our calls and recording everything per person and adding that to the RAG layer. It started to build out personas for each person in there. And thus far, I'm only using all of the public data, and which is actually what I still want to use is just the public data. What I've requested is that we set this up as a bot, which is a specific thing through Discord. The Discord admins need to approve the bot, and then that allows the bot to actually pull against the Discord from like an API perspective, rather than just scraping off the top. But the benefit is then that bot becomes an interactive part of our Discord that anybody can /ask, and the ask is fused query, like trimodal query against this RAG. So you can surface really strange relationships like, tell me all the times that we talked about this topic in the video calls, right? Like right now, you can't ask that anywhere. But with this, I can ask my bot, like, tell me all the times that Manolo and this person specifically talked about this one topic. And it'll bring it up like, oh, they never talked about that. Or, hey, by the way, 3 months ago, they talked about it on this call. Here's the link to the video, whatever. So I've already got that built on my end, and I've been using it. It's really powerful. What I'd like to do is propose it to the community to use within. And so couple of the factors. One, this should be completely open source all the way. I want everybody to have access to see the whole database all the time. I'd like it to be one of our augmentism GitHub repos, so everybody can work on and contribute to the bot, and we all have total insights onto how the bot works and why, so that everybody feels safe about it. I want to go through a bunch of audits before we drop this on the community. But really, I think it's something that could really benefit our community at large, because I take this model and apply it to all of my different businesses and clients and like my whole enterprise at large. And it allows me to interact with it like it's an executive assistant, and it's constantly got surfacing really interesting facts and like little edges and leads that make my life better. So I thought, maybe it'd be good for us as a community.
Thank you, Dustin. I think it's clear the why, the what, and the how. Before I do my commenting, I don't know if someone has something to say about this idea.
I'd like to say thanks. That's a great idea, Dustin. And we've been talking about something along those lines, and I think we definitely need it, and it would be really beneficial because I'm constantly going back through our videos. I know that's a very nerdish thing to do, but I constantly go back and I go to sections of our videos, pieces that I want to hear again, or things that I need to hear twice. So if we could extract that into a searchable format, because I would love to be able to query the videos and say, hey, talk about every time Chris has talked about local models and put it into a summary report, just
exactly.
Whatever.
There's so much high value coming out of these calls that then it's hard, unless you're taking every one of them, putting them in a notebook, or you've built, Notebook LM, or you've built something like this yourself. This could just be, publicly accessible to anybody. That somebody shows up new and says, hey, chatbot, what the heck is this community? Where's the value here? What do you guys talk about? And it could, pull up a quick summary like, oh, here's all the stuff that we've been talking about lately. I think it makes our community much more interactive as well.
The other thing that's valuable here is if you want to find out about a subject, you can find out who knows about that subject matter within our community based on what they've presented in the meetings. So then you can talk to that person about that subject.
Yeah, and that's the knowledge ecosystem. When you see these universities that have different disciplines all in the same building, right? You always see an acceleration of the technology because people are just right across, right, and easily connected. So yeah,
the water cooler.
Yeah, this is an acceleration tool. So thank you.
Right, and then I think the future like phases forward is that you could opt into this with your Resonant OS, and you can either fork the database to have your own image of the community one with your own private one, or you could opt into part of your private RAG layer being interactive with this, and there's some permissions between and like approval layers that we might want, but it could extend out and be a natural plugin, I suppose, to the Resonant OS browser add-on.
Well, and if you look at Vlad's architecture for the knowledge towers, this is synergistic, right? It fits right in because the idea is to build domain knowledge, right? And one person builds domain knowledge and whatever expertise they possess, and then you share it with another person discreetly, right? Like you said, it's a discrete sharing back into the main pool, and that way we have a massive tower of knowledge, right? A consolidated node tower.
That's right. Yeah, and one of the issues came up as permissions, which I countered with, I didn't sign anything, but we've been, like, just by being in these calls, they're all being recorded and then putting back into the public space. So you're kind of like, you've opted into all of this data. And even with the Discord, you'd have to look in the TOS, but I think once you start interacting with Discord, like, you've given up the private nature of your information, knowledge, whatever, it's there. And not to say that we shouldn't have an explicit opt-in. We probably should. We should probably have like, hey, by the way, when you interact with this community, you come to our calls, they are getting recorded and they will be on YouTube. If you don't like that, like, be quiet. Don't come.
Exactly. So I've been already working with the editor. Can't remember his name. About this because there is the regulation here in Europe. We have the GDPR that we need to follow. So he was doing some research to understand how to do this correctly. At the same time, there are, of course, the regulation are just not applicable. They're just over the top. Okay, you need 10 lawyers and 20 forms to fill and so on just to be safe. So the regulation doesn't. It's just beyond belief what they are asking for. And there is another element that we are at DAO and we are decentralized. So we have the problem. Well, the characteristic that in reality we are not constrained by a jurisdiction. The moment that we are decentralized, we co-own it, means that every single one of us owns the place, and therefore there's not a physical place for the DAO. So what I'm trying to do, what I already wrote, but I need to double check and think together, is the rules or I can't find the word, but kind of the rules of the Discord. So when you join, those are the rules of the. Uh, I can't find the word. Rules.
Yeah, the
Bylaws.
Terms of service.
Yeah.
Terms of
Terms of
service.
services. Thank you. The terms of services of this community. Especially because we are decentralized and trust within the decentralization is connected to transparency. So we need to have transparency. Therefore, everything is there all the time. We don't hide anything. We record this meeting because of transparency. This is the reason why the DAO works in this way. It's the only way to create a trust. That needs to be clear to everybody. Look, you join this community, you will be part of building this trust. You will, your data will be seen by others. Now, the only difference here is that we start organizing the data. Okay, we extract intelligence from the data. So it's not just recording the data, but it's turning data into intelligence. That is another kind of level, which I personally agree because it's benefit the community, but at the same time there is a level of understanding of the problem deeply. So we are more mature about what we are doing. It's what are the negative part? Because we can see the positive. You, Dustin, you explain what are the positive. What are the negative of doing something like this? What are we what kind of friction or problem or things that we are creating that might be problematic. And another thing to add, maybe we need some rooms where these bots cannot get in. Okay, some private kind of a room for us if we want to discuss something privately without the bot checking on us. So kind of a safe spaces uh, if required. It can be some audio chats and room specific rooms. So start to think in those terms as well.
Every time I set up a Discord bot on my server, I always have a human channel beside it that the bot can't access. It's a standard for me.
Yeah.
So yeah. One for the bot where people can go in and talk to the bot, and one for the human that the bot can't see or access, and it's just a divide. Yeah, always. It's a human thing that people need.
Yeah, with the caveat that all of your data is getting scraped all the time. So like, and do not treat Discord as a safe space ever, bot or not. Like, Discord is not a safe place. Like, this data is, if they want it, do not talk about compromising thing on Discord, any channel, anywhere, any server, because it's like at risk. So I don't want us to have make a safe space room and people feel like, oh, cool, I can the bot's not watching, so I'm safe here. Like, just because that bot's not watching doesn't mean all the other bots that are scraping Discord aren't watching.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Chimo, go ahead.
Yeah, also, and those of you that I have recorded a conversation with know this, but not only, also in the meetings in the TOS, I would include the right to please delete this bit from a conversation, because I think also for privacy reasons, even if you allow to be recorded, we are being recorded many hours and we all have a bad day and we can all behave like an asshole, and I don't want that to be reproduced or, so I would also include that you do have the right to ask for that bit to be edited out. And I do that in the meetings all the time because we might talk, since we're only two people talking, we might talk about very personal matters or
It's
name.
interesting.
Yeah.
Does that apply also to, say you are misbehaving in the Discord, but then come around and next week you're like, hey, can we scrub that from the brain layer? Is that
I can't control that. The Discord is such a weird reactive space. I don't know what the rules of behavior are, but I think video is different. It's way more
The
personal.
answer
If
is
somebody cuts out a video bit of you talking and puts it out there, you can sound like a fanatic or like a weird person.
Sure.
So I don't think nobody has asked me much of this, only occasionally. And I do think people should have the right of their video image more than what they type.
the answer
That's
is
gonna have to be a
yes.
really strong filter, because I'm always misbehaving on Discord.
So most of Discord up to this point is self-moderation in that respect. So you put up a message you don't like, first things first, you can edit it. You put up a message you don't like, or you realize later on that it was inappropriate or whatever, you can take it down. So that's the first point. Second point is, if we were to create a bot that would be recording everything, then there would be a moderation channel that you could go in, probably through the bot itself, and be able to modify your own messages, your own words. We would make a channel for that, because that's just following the same process of how Discord works. Discord is not normally everything gets recorded inside voice chats. Normally it's once said, it's then just lost to the ether. But yeah, if we were to create a thing that would record all voice on Discord, then we would create channels for that, yes.
And one thing I want to point out from the regulatory side is, as you play a fine line with this being a platform and you being a publisher. And the second you shift over into publisher, the laws change around what whoever's in, you say community, but in the eyes of the law, they're going to say Manolo. We don't care that you said that everybody owns it. This is your thing that you set up. And the more moderation you do, the closer you get to being a publisher and the more liable you are for all the shit that's said here. Which is, I've gone round and round on this, hosting my own large forum, to the point where we just kind of abandoned moderation because we kept getting threatened with lawsuits for moderating either too much or not enough. And they're like, well, see, you are a publisher. You're controlling what's said on this platform that makes you a publisher, which is a fine line.
That is very interesting. To be honest, the main reason why I behave like this with recordings is because I want you to all talk comfortably and
Yeah.
freely. Anything I can say as a Spaniard can sound racist in who knows where, you know, because of cultural differences or lack of understanding of other cultures. So in my case, I do it more for the interest of the voices to be more natural.
And I think it's also about the intent, right? We're really trying to be transparent. And so these meetings have a lot of knowledge and a lot of value, and we want to capture that and make it canonical and searchable and usable, in our shared knowledge towers. But yeah, you're right, Dustin. We're not trying to editorialize this or frame anything. We're just trying to be transparent about what we're doing, which is part of why I love this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can
yeah, and
I?
if we all go ahead, Manuel.
No, go ahead. Then I talk.
Yeah, just one last thing as far as like, as long as we decentralize the database, imagine if we like set it up as a torrent almost, where everybody had a copy of the database and anytime there was an update, you all updated your local, but that way we're all operating as nodes. This ties back into the DAO really well. Maybe there's like a blockchain aspect to the data. That way it keeps the data honest and transparent the whole time.
Yeah, and that's the intent with what we were thinking about is when you extract this, we save it into a repo that everyone has access to. So it's canonical, it's visible, it's always out there, and it's done in a way that anything that goes into the system goes into a place where everybody can see it publicly and it's managed.
Uh, so just to discuss this a little bit even more deeply, when I said things go was the negative, was the things go wrong, it's it might be that some people wants to attack the community and they will find the excuses. Okay, one excuse is you don't have the GDPR, whatever it's called, thing done properly. You are,
GDPR.
yeah, so you extract data from the community, community are not, don't have the consents. They can find the vulnerability within our system. So we need to start thinking on, on, sorry, I need to drink.
GDPR is a really big thing in Europe. So
Yeah, and at some point with our organization, I mean, we're going to have a coin, we're going to have a structure, we're going to have legal systems. So we'll have to start thinking in those terms, right? We need legal
yeah,
expertise. I've been part of a business, I've run the legal department, I've done the leases, I've done the contracts. You have to take care with those things and be smart about it.
otherwise
Yeah,
you will have the whole European Union against you. That won't be good. That won't be
Well,
good.
the other thing is that eventually we are going to outgrow Discord. We are going to outgrow most systems that are capable of holding a community like this because they just don't hold. Like at the moment, we're adapting Discord or Zoom to what suits us and how we want to operate within it and what our systems require. That is short term in the long scheme of things. So once the Resonant DAO becomes a fully adapted and an established system, inside that is going to be our communications platform, or embedded is going to be a platform that is more suitable for us to use, and it will be heavily adapted for our purpose, whatever platform it might be, whether it's Zoom or whatever else. So when that all happens, that's when you just go back to say, cool, now what are all the operating rules? We have to do this based on the community size and the aspect and the legal and everything else, and we just apply it to that.
Yeah, you're right, Sam. And I think that's that structure that we put together for the hub, and I keep referencing back to that. It's a secondary priority, but that structure where we have our own centralized location where we're capturing information, we're managing the system, the DAO, and then putting that information into our repository. We'll have to have that, and I think right now it's kind of in a prototype format, and we can build it and it can be a hybrid to start with, but eventually, like you said, if we need to migrate away from a Discord or a a cloud drive, we need to migrate to something that we built, we can do that.
So one thing that is important to understand is as soon as you one thing is we centralize the idea. Okay, there is a portal where we find the ideas. But technically, if you centralize the server, then you have a place. So the server, where is the server? Okay, US. So the problem is a US legal problem now. Who managed the server? Tom. Okay, so Tom now can get sued for holding the private data of other people. You see what I mean? So it's we need to do it really correct, and we need to be careful. If we do decentralized, truly decentralized, and there are solutions for decentralized data. If we do decentralize this data, then where is it? Nobody knows. Okay, it's everywhere. So there is no a place like we have, hundreds of countries from this community. Also, our data needs to be done in the same way. So we must think in a decentralized way. That's why, like Sam was saying, we need to outgrow Discord and Zoom and so on. So the moment that we decentralize everything, then there is no one single point that you can attack. Historically, you can attack the entire community. Yeah, that's the thing because we are all co-owners. So they could sue the entire every single members of the community. Means the DAO needs to have foundings for be able to cover that kind of attack.
I'd say we just build that into the smart contracts, the communication system layer itself.
Yeah,
and
there you go.
community layer.
That's kind of the point of the DAO, right? Like you can't sue me because I have Bitcoins, even if you don't like Bitcoin really a lot and you want to sue Bitcoin, whatever that means. Like, right? You can't. How do we set up so that we're the same?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. We need to build in that kind of direction. Chris, you wanted to talk?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say something about like decentralizing systems, but I guess you kind of just like touched on that. I have been exploring that route, and it's something that I have some ideas on. Um, it works. I mean, I've been working like in collaborative spaces where I have like it's not part of my main system yet, but just like collaborative rooms where you can have like Discord style stuff and have assistants talking. Um, but I have plans for having a way to synchronize spaces with people where you don't have to share like the whole room. You could like subscribe to different aspects of events that are happening inside of a space. Or I have my friend came up with something called a world JSON L file where it has all the description of everything that's happening in the room. And then that would get synchronized with everybody's like server. So you could recreate the space on your computer, kind of like HTML rendering, but it's for information and like data structures. Um, it's not super difficult, you know. It's just making sure you have the same contracts, you know.
Yes. So yeah, exactly. So we need to start thinking in those terms, especially those that are doing the software. So always remember to build with the idea of be decentralized and be decentralized as soon as possible. So we lower the amount of work that we need to do later on and the risk that we take today. So
Yeah,
I think, Dustin, if you build this in a way that it's we have this transparency from day one, meaning everybody can have access to the data, then it's we can go live.
excellent.
The Vlad was asking how we prevent someone just to come and get our data. I'm gonna share my thinking, and then everybody can share their thinking about this. In theory, we need to work in a way that we don't care. Doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter if they steal our data. Our data, from my point of view, should be 100% transparency. Everybody should see, could be able to see it and use it. And if we work in that way, we don't need to worry about if they steal it. If they steal it, means we are contributing. Okay, we are contributing to someone else's dream. That's how I personally see it.
Agreed.
Right. Because how do
Yeah,
you keep them from stealing it now? How do you keep me from showing up? You guys accepted me into the community. I'm logging all this data. Am I stealing the data?
Yeah, and we're also open source, and frankly, that's just a stance, right? We're building technology to help people. We're transparent about it, and that's just our stance. And if you come in and you borrow it and you use it, well, maybe I helped you, right? I'm not really that concerned
Right.
about it, frankly.
Attribute. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
give us a little, hands like, thanks, guys. That's all we want.
yeah.
Vlad, go ahead.
Yeah, I was thinking more in the case of because right now you had to have the effort to do something like this. So if we have a database, you just need to download the database. And I mean, in a sense of we talk about a lot, and people could use this to do profile of us, and like in a sense of
Yeah,
yeah,
profile.
like
Yeah.
intelligent agents does like this. So this is the risk that we would have because we would have a lot of data of how we talk, what we value, and things like this. I am not saying that it's not something that someone would get, but yeah, something to think of.
100%. And it's extremely valid. Okay, the risk of being high level profiled is huge. Okay, if they really understand how you think, you become really vulnerable. And so this is the reason why I in the Resonant OS we need to build the shield because we need to be protected the moment that we become vulnerable. Uh, I personally, the fact that I start sharing, there is, I don't know, 150 plus 170 videos, okay, of me thinking. So I accepted the risk, but totally understand that it's not for everybody. So there is probably an element anyway, even an element of me that is private. So that is that part. I noticed that on my sense, on myself, when I think about who I am, I can see even the YouTube algorithm go nuts because every 3 months I become obsessed about something different, and then it doesn't know YouTube what to suggest from van life I don't know the universe and whatever music and guitars and modular synth and then I don't know boats, narrow boats and whatever. So I understand that how much difficult to be profiled correctly, but nevertheless, it's possible. So there is a risk there, and maybe each one of us needs to think deeply about what we share publicly. Cimo.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of what I'm guessing from what I understand, what Kerry was proposing that we should start talking about behavior, ethics, morals, having tenets, like what do we extract of us, what we agree from the manifesto, and see, make this a discussion in which we have a clear expression of what all this means, what you're signing up to, and what do we expect from you when you're part of the community.
Maybe we can get a channel where we can discuss this plot. That way we can go through like a proper community spec driven development of it. I can propose what I have and anybody that's interested in contributing can help. And then that way we can build in the open for this, if that makes sense.
I think could be the topic of tomorrow's call. This is the human aspect of this, what we're building with the community. Um, but we need, I mean, if we, Chimo, about this thing that you said that really resonated with Carrie, we need Carrie to be present. I don't know if she's gonna be present tomorrow, but would be good to see her perspective because I think she had a really clear idea what she were envisioned.
I will message her and find out, and then I'll let you know.
Especially because I think tomorrow I want to the last I can't remember when it was. I think it was Monday. We were talking about the leadership. And so when we came out with this thing where I uh, try to share my view, and I think it was confusing and not clear what I meant. And tomorrow probably we can address a few of those elements. So what we're building, what is my role within what we're building, and the idea of the DAO and the bigger community and the smaller community that are inside, because maybe sometimes there is confusion about those elements, and and it's worth discussing because most of the time some of the elements that we are discussing are not connected to the top level DAO, but are connected to smaller communities that are within the DAO. So we need to clarify what is what. Because at the moment we are building the bigger community, but nevertheless we are a lower community. Okay, we are those AI artisans. Okay, these pioneers, and by the default, by definition, we are a smaller community. But we are the smaller community that are building the bigger one, and that is the sometimes the challenge of understanding what is happening. Uh, and I need to clarify to everybody and to myself as well what is my role. Okay, what I'm doing here. What kind of uh, what kind of role I have within what we're building. So it become clear to everybody, and we can discuss and see properly. And tomorrow could be the good day, a good day for doing this.
Manolo, and we've talked so much, I'm very familiar with your thought process, but it would be nice if you could share the vision that you have for the community, right? And give us a framework for how, we get from here to there, right? Because there's a lot of activity, a lot of effort. And I think I understand where we're headed, but it would be nice if we could roadmap that out.
Yes, those are kind of 10 hours call chat kind of thing. But yeah, we can go through part of it, or maybe through questions we can unpack what is interested to know. But if from Monday, hopefully it came clear that my strategy of what we're building is to in 2 3 years time have a community worth in real money over a couple of $1 billion. Okay, so there is a strategy, there is a plan, and there is something that I on Monday I share, and somehow people can understand how we can achieve it. But nevertheless, this means doing some steps together. Now, the community can say, I don't want to do that kind of thing, I'm not interested, and it's fine. That is where you go into a smaller community, a community within the DAO. But the DAO, the bigger one, are building that thing. That is what we are building. Then doesn't mean that you need to be part of building it. It's a personal decision if you want to do it or not. And we're gonna talk better tomorrow. But for clarity, it's this is what I'm building. Okay, I took this decision. I'm gonna build this. Then you can follow or not. You can build it with me or not. It doesn't matter. It's this is what I'm building. Then you can say I'm building something else. Okay, build that something else. It's fine. Uh, I'm building the system that will get us to a financial system because I think we need to be sustainable, and therefore we need a financial plan for it, but also to build the community in a way that allows other community to be inside this community. So my path is mainly dedicated to that kind of journey. But we can discuss more about it tomorrow.
Thank you.
And so, if you have a question, Tom, maybe write down a list, everybody, if they have a question that wants to know more about both the DAO, the community, what we're going, and what your desire, and whatever it is. So maybe prepare a series of questions. We can, go through tomorrow all of this. Chimo.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, while you make the list, just check out the difference between project management, leadership, the architecture of power. Because I can see that the fact that, if I execute something poorly, that has nothing to do with decentralization. That's just that I'm not qualified to manage some of the things I'm managing here. So when somebody better comes across, they can do it. So just please just read out a little bit about that and check it with what Manolo has written. So the conversation is not clogged with this is not working in this meeting, because I mean, that's not very, very constructive. We discuss decentralization and we can discuss also the meetings, how we can improve them, but they're separate issues.
100%. Thank you, Chimo. Yes, and I think there is, on your point, there is a confusion between all of us, between what we're doing. That is, and it's normal. Okay, because I'm taking a lot of roles, and some of them I'm not good at. Some of them maybe I'm good at, and but I shouldn't do it. Okay, it's not my role. It's not my. It's what I should be doing. But that is the reality. So sometimes there is also that thing that confuse people when they see me what I'm supposed to do and what is they expecting from the community and so on. So we need to clarify all those elements. And someone shared the link in the Discord. I think it's the right link. Sorry, on the chat. Actually, there is another one that I want to, if I found it now, which is about building differently. Let's see if I can find it fast. While I find this other post, Sam, go ahead.
I just wanted to put out a call to anyone in the community. Basically, anyone who uses Codex and ChatGPT, and well, just Codex, I guess specifically. But I put a public repo up for that reset. I want to get into a chat with someone who uses Codex. I want them to try it to see if it works. Basically, if it works more than just on my system. And especially someone who has used a Codex monthly reset or has one available to use and is willing to spend some weeks testing to see what happens.
Yeah, I'll help you out, Sam. I'm on the same path, right? I'm always looking at my resets and trying to time them, maximizing my capacity. So thank you for putting that together.
Thank you. We just passed the time of the meeting, so I think we discussed a lot. We can call the meeting finished, but if there is people that wants to carry on having ideas, questions, or something that they want to share, I can stay a little bit longer. Uh, so go ahead. Let's shoot your questions.
I just want to say something. I think that having a bot that writes again what someone has said or something can be a little bit, I don't know, because you know how AI is. They can like turn the information to something else. They can write something else that you didn't even speak of. I think that could be dangerous, and even with the GDPR, it can be no good. And it's different when you actually speak here and have like this in a video because you see the person. But if a bot you said like, oh, this person said this person said that, it can be, no, I don't think.
100%.
I don't think that's good at all. It's not good.
Are you referring to mistranslations, or are you referring
I don't know how
what person said?
Yeah, I don't know what you call it, but here we can call it. Here we have a word for it, and it's like you're saying that the people, someone else tells something, but if they don't do it, then it's like, yeah, exactly. Thanks.
Misattribution.
Yeah, thanks.
Thankfully that's not a thing in Discord, because in Discord chat, when you as a user say something, the bot differentiates by user code who says what. so it knows exactly who said the thing, unless it's an echo from someone else's audio, which is a problem, but that's a different kind of problem.
Yeah. But yeah, I just like if the bot records and then it tells in text in some other like chat room or something, then it's not good for even not for GDPR at least. It's not good.
So you're saying you wouldn't want your voice words to be transcribed?
I don't care. I don't care if people jack off to it. I don't care. But if somebody else would like, if someone else come in here and say like, oh, and then they see the information, and maybe it was like something they didn't even speak about, it can be no good. Like the bot can hallucinate, you know. Even we don't know.
Well, no, a transcribing bot does not hallucinate. They take a transcription bot takes the words, and the only thing that can happen is mistranscribing, so it doesn't pick up the sounds of the words correctly and attributes the wrong word to it. But it doesn't do. There's no thinking, there's no inference on a transcription bot. But I would also say
it could scare people off to have them see.
That's why we have human channels.
Exactly.
That's why we have channels where the bot isn't there. So if you are a person who doesn't want your words transcribed, then you use that channel. You don't use the channel with the bots in it.
Yeah.
Does anyone have a good legal AI that they've built that we can talk to?
Yeah, it's regarding the legal.
Or just a lawyer in the community as well.
Yeah, but regarding the legal aspect, it's so complicated because it's a worldwide regulation kind of thing. So it might be legal in your country, not legal in the neighbor country, and for sure that is the case.
It's a huge question. It's a huge question.
It's unsolvable. That's why we need to decentralization like Bitcoin in that way. That it's it's illegal. Yeah, it's illegal. You can use it, but it's there. Okay, you can't stop it, and that's how we should try to build as decentralized as possible. Regarding the cosmonautic one, the problem here is because I do a lot of this transcription from my Think Aloud session, a couple, at least 2, 3 a day. Okay, so I have my eye doing this, and of course my accent get misunderstood a lot of time. Okay, so what I done, I created then another agent that look at the text and see and try to understand. Look, this was mistranscribed was another thing, and it does. So it correct a lot, but even in then there is a mistranscript.
That's an extra layer of choice that you've chosen to do. That's not like if you just use a pure transcription model, the only risk is mistranscribing.
Yeah, I'm telling you, my accent is going to be mistranscribed a lot. Okay, like let's say 5%, which is a lot, is unacceptable, 5% within a document. So there is another AI that check and recover most of that thing, but sometimes there is something that split, go unchecked. Only a human could recognize it, but it's impossible to do it. That I accept, but because it stay private, it stay with me. So what cosmonautic is saying, it is a real problem. It's not something that we say, yeah, but doesn't matter. No, it matters, and we need to be careful. So what is it? Dustin. So he's building this AI that does this kind of job. Great. Let's have it checked so we can have maybe different kind of AI testing it and see which model understand better some accent or whatever. And maybe we need another AI like I did with my system that then go back to the transcription and try to fix it.
There's a system out there called SpeechBrain that does this very well. You can train your own models based on your own voice and your own sound. What you call it? Learn
Accent.
Data. Yeah, but you're like, because I'm recording my voice, I've got a New Zealand / English accent sort of halfway between, and so I've recorded about 100 audio hours, and I'm using multiple transcription services to get a normalized data set that allows me to then put that into the SpeechBrain bot, which will give me a model that I can use that will accurately transcribe my voice.
But can you understand there is a difference between you with your accent and Cosmonautic and I with ours?
Yeah,
Well,
hopefully the bot will think that I'm Swedish chef or something.
What I described
right back in
personal model. Yeah, so what I described is a personally trained model on your voice. So yes, it will, but it's work to create.
Yeah. So as a person, we can fix it as the community bot that needs to check every single person. There is gonna be some people that gonna be transcribed. That is the problem that Cosmonaut is talking about. That mistranscription can be damaging the individual, and that is why we need to be careful. That's all was. So let's pay more attention to this problem because it's a problem that we recognize more than others. So we want to, because one of they correctly said, look, there is this problem because we see every day and it's not small.
Yeah, the GDPR here in Europe is not a joke. So it's it's very strict here. Very strict.
There's one other thing, this is why I actually raised my hands, for reacting to the chat with Marco Fernandez, and he said, what about voice cloning? Personally, any video that is taken on YouTube, any aspect of any audible media, you're subject to someone grabbing it and voice cloning you anyway, so I don't see how we could potentially protect against that. The only thing I can think of is some sort of level of audio watermarking or some other technology that either doesn't exist yet or isn't widely available.
No, we can't like be. We can just be. I need to say this. We need to know that our information is being like recorded and everything. But I think that if we want if people needs to stay here, that they can't be. We can't just like push them away. You know, people will get scared if they see like, oh, a bot is writing what I said last week. Now it's writing it in the channel. That's not good. People will not like that.
I think to be honest,
I know that I'm being recorded anyway, and it's like on Darknet or Google or anything. But that doesn't matter if I don't see it. You know, if I'm not seeing it, that it doesn't matter. But if I just see it, it will be like, what is this? You know. So, yeah.
On Discord specifically, I think for us it would just be when you agree to the server. If you go onto a channel that has a bot in it, you agree to those things, and you can look up the details of what it does.
Yeah, it's the DGPR, whatever it's called, the law. It tells that when you join this call, for example, I should give you a contract that you need to sign, okay, and then authorize me to use your image and so on. Otherwise, I can't record you. Okay, that is the European law. So it's not as simple as you say. Just we are doing it. We are doing it. Okay, by law, it's a nightmare. It's undoable. It's nobody follow the law, but that is the law, and everybody is basically is a criminal.
If somebody wants to, they can just like apply that law, and then
Yeah. So Z7Lab.
I think one thing to consider with a bot like that is like, where does the data get sent to for like synthesizing the information? You know what I mean? Because that data could get sent to like frontier labs and then they're training on it or whatever else. So that's another kind of aspect to think about. So, you know, maybe one guarantee could be like that's done with like private local AI. It doesn't leave to the cloud somewhere, you know, that's just an idea. But anyway, that's just what I want to add.
So to answer your question about the memory thing and the data thing, like I was explaining earlier, a great way
Sorry, Darren. You need to raise your hand if you want to talk. There are people queuing.
My bad.
Go ahead, Dan. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, imagine you're in a garden, right? The memory would be the pool. Everybody can dip into it. The reason why it's been so hard is because I've been fighting bad actors behind the scenes. I'll open it up so that everybody can do their thing. Now that we got into a place where we're more stable, I'm pretty sure you guys can take the information that we found, because, you know, it's all running off of the open source, and I'll put it in there so that way you guys can know what to do. It can be as simple or as complex or as an explanation if you want it. Simple version is the version that everybody, Anthropic, OpenAI is running. is the legacy version. And I had to do it that because they kept interfering with how everything
Gone.
Darren, you broke up.
that open. So
Did we lose his voice?
Yeah, Tom, go ahead.
Okay. Sounds like we lost Darren there for a minute. Yeah, I think these are some things that we've got to get ahead of, because those laws in the European Union, and I mean not just there but other places, they're challenging in different ways. So where, like someone just said, where we're storing the data, where does that server live? It starts to make me think about some of those organizational structures. I think someone introduced, there's like a international autonomous organization structure. It's similar to the DAO, but takes into account some of these international concerns, because when you see some tech companies like Google or Microsoft, you hear these giant rulings all of a sudden out of Europe that they're getting a judgment of billions and billions of dollars, and now it's affecting their software business, but they're multinational, right? And we're on a very small scale. We're about to address that sort of situation, right? Because we'll have liabilities and assets and resources that we have to manage inside the DAO.
Yeah, and when you sign into Google and when you actually create a Google account, you're accepting this, right?
Yeah.
We do it in Europe at least. So that's why we need to accept things when we log in with our Google. I'll need to accept a lot of things every time I log into stuff.
Yeah, and I also am concerned with things like the BRIC card. I read about it. Of course, I'm in America, so I don't see it, but you see things like the BRIC card and the login verification systems, which sounds like they're driving it towards making you have to sign in to use whatever product, right? And if they do that and they put that behind a sign-in authentication to be able to use AI, man, that becomes challenging.
Maybe it will be better to have like a GDPR, like make the AI do a good GDPR and have a good manifest when you actually log in, to have you like accept before you log in.
Yeah, in the registration moment,
Yeah.
but it's not I can't even say the name.
GDPR.
GDPR. And it's something. I prepared the text. It's something that is more connected to the DAO structure. Uh, but yeah, it's we need to think. Probably we can discuss tomorrow. One thing about the Z7 Lab observation about using local AI for doing this kind of work, I believe that this is what Dustin had in mind, to have his own AI, local AI doing this job, especially because this kind of work, it can be really done really well by local AI. You don't need the frontier model. You don't need anything expensive. Yeah, it's
But if it's on openly, then it's not local anymore. All the information it's not local. The bot.
no, okay. I mean, the work is done locally, so it don't get sent to anybody. But then the data that is public because every single one of us should access. But the difference here is they need to come to get it instead of us giving to them.
Yeah.
But I see your concern, but nevertheless, our trust is built through transparency.
Yeah, I think that it will scare off people.
Yeah, it does. It does.
It will.
Does.
So
It does without them knowing that everything they send on WhatsApp, everything that they share on
yeah, but then
whatever
do you
social
accept it?
network,
You need to
emails.
accept that. That's
Yeah.
in Facebook. Do you accept that they take your pictures,
Yeah.
right? And
Nobody
they can do
reads,
whatever they
but
want
yeah.
with it. Yeah.
Herman,
So,
go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I was muted. Yeah, this is interesting. I had to do a lot of this GDPR stuff for the applications that I was building since I'm located in Germany, and some clients are in the United States and things like that. So I often touch upon this topic with the GDPR and data processing, but technically, it's actually simpler than it always seems at first, because in Europe, one of the colleagues here said, before you enter something for the first time, you always agree. So, and sometimes you don't even notice that you're agreeing. It's basically just a opt-in process, and with something that refers to, you can read the stuff here. So, and the main thing is, however, if it's like a bot, or if it's like a software or something, there's always these in data protection in GDPR in Europe, you have these contractual clauses. Those are the main things that people in Europe have to agree to, so that you are able, let's say you have a system and the servers are in the United States, then the legal body of GDPR, because in the end it doesn't matter where the servers are, this and that, it's like a philosophical importance, but legally the way that's handled is through these SCCs. These are like contractual clauses, standard clauses that you add to it along with the DPA, like the processing agreement, and then that's the body that you use for these apps. And of course you'd have to have maybe a data processing lawyer or something look over it, or maybe use Grok for the beginning to draft it or so. But it's pretty simple, and it's really just a matter of putting it at the front in the onboarding process. So when somebody agrees to this once, they don't have to always agree to the stuff again, because that's all in the first onboarding step. And just as a 2 cents, I would suggest just having it, if you ever have this thing, just having it in the front in the beginning, and that's something that people, when they sign up, part of their opt-in process is just agreeing to those things, and that's all it is.
Exactly.
Basically.
Read this file, and then you have a long file with like this small text, so people don't read it, and then they
Yeah.
accept it, and then
Yeah.
you're okay.
Yeah, that's because that's in the end, if you do ever get audited, that's the first place where the auditing lawyers go to. They say, okay, let me see if these guys have their SECs, because that's what protects you legally. And if you do have them, then it's basically the other person actually agreed to it. So that's all there is from the legal side and GDPR in terms of GDPR.
Thank you. So yes, we need to do this properly at one point. Maybe we can put together a team. Herman, as you got some experience, you for sure you should be part of this team, and so we can figure this out. Especially because the DAO itself, there is a moment of signing. The moment that you register to the DAO through the smart contract, this document needs to be there. And this is the reason why I was working on it, because we need something that is signed and saved on the blockchain. Therefore, there is a hard proof of agreement with the DAO, which is not just this part of recording and so on. There is all the all elements of the DAO. But yeah, so we need to look into those things. So when we create the smart contract, we have all this data inside. So it's kind of a high urgency in reality. All right.
Herman, it would be nice if,
Sorry,
sorry,
go ahead, Tom.
Herman, I wouldn't mind connecting with you on Discord if you're willing to talk, catch up with you.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. I'll be happy to. Really like you guys. It's like an awesome project.
Sorry to
Awesome.
interrupt, Manolo.
Yeah,
Sorry
no,
about
I'm
that.
just saying that I got to go, but you can stay longer if you want to, if Chimo is happy about it because it's his call, it's his Zoom. But thanks a lot, and see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Manolo.
Bye. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Ciao.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can go on.
Yeah.
I will start telling like the really weird words just to mess up the bot.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I think we've got some things to work on, and I appreciate you guys. I'm going to make a list of questions for tomorrow. I think these are, as Manolo said, urgent issues that we need to start putting in front of us because they're big questions, and some of them are over my head. So I want to get some traction with it.
Has anyone here done an analysis on, like, let's say you've got Hermes, OpenCode, Codex, and like all of the other harnesses, and you've been going from one to the next, trying all different things, and realized that basically you've got this paper trail of documents and skills and crap that's like just flowed through your computer or whatever system you're working on, and realize, oh my god, I've got like millions of documents, and I'm trying to sort it all out. It's just a ridiculous problem. I started trying to work on this, and I've actually created a program that's basically scanning all of that and having like part deterministic, part LLM, and just analyzing and going through all this.
Right.
Has anyone done this? I'm curious.
Yeah. All of us probably. Like, I basically made a sleuth program to go through my entire hard drive, all of my Discord channels, because I've got like 50 Discord channels with my bot. I separate them by topic, and I'm lost in the conversations, I'm lost in the documents, and I'm lost in the scatter that was on my hard drive. So I made a program to do basically that, go through, hit every channel, every repo, every document, file storage, and consolidate it into a canonical, indexed file system.
Yeah, I also made it just the other day. I made like a reference bot. So it's looking for the old reference, because every time I'm updating, or my agent, because it's autonomous agent, at least or sort of, but every time it doing some work, I wanted to upgrade or update the old stuff, but it doesn't do it. And if it goes too long, then it's messing everything up. So I need to find, like, I'm trying with the reference, but then it forgets another reference, and it's like, oh, I'm done. And then I remember, oh, I need to, can you update this one? And it's like, oh, I forgot that one. So I'm also trying to, I tried with a knowledge graph, connect that to another agent, and back and forward. And it's always, when I tell it, how does it go? And it's like, oh, I don't know how to like remember all the updates. So,
and I just saw in the chat, friends said he built an assistant basically to stop the churn from actually being created, which is actually a good thought I need to go down, because the idea of like saying, well, it's great to have all these ideas and projects, but maybe if we can have something that canonically creates data in an organized way and or recognizes when data already exists and doesn't recreate it, which these bots, they just absolutely refuse to delete anything, which is a real pain. So yeah, maybe having a bot that actually creates it. I need to go down that line of thinking next.
And you need to box them in so that your bot knows that this is where I put canonical documents. Otherwise, it's going to be on the root, and it's just going to make a folder, and it's going to say, this is my agent folder for this task. And it's just like some orphan file folder, right? So you have to force it into a structure.
Which the next bot won't look at, and it'll make its own one again.
Yeah. And then you have duplicates, right? So that with code references, like Cosmonautic said, like I just enforced that on our repo so that any code changes get flushed back through the documentation, right? And keeping the documentation in line with the code on your own personal system when you're just churning so much, it's really hard.
And have a Git as well. Git.
Yeah. Everything has to be Git.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing that I was going to mention is this, that Don said, about having like a folder that's garbage, and you start some work in there, and then if something important, then you move to a more important folder, and have that for folders and maybe for documents as well. So like So I have this document that is just a lot of things that I just wrote and they just wrote, and they then you consolidate on a canonical document. So you have like different levels of yeah, kind of authority and yeah, authority I think is a good word. I think it's the one that Buzz used. Is good. And since you work like and then you just move information from document to document, and each time you move to a document, that information is more relevant.
Oh, I have also another solution that I built. I built a dashboard for all the things that I want to see in my agent, like all knowledge graphs, how much does have it built right now because it's autonomous. I want to know all the information, how much it is, and where to look at it, where to search for it. So I have like a live dashboard, not in Hermes or anything. This is like directly connected to my agent. So I have a live dashboard when I have like the chat, because she can code or no, but I use Hermes because the terminal is better and it's easier to use right now, at least. And then I can see like, oh, this one is down, the bridge is down, maybe the MCP is something wrong with when I restarted the computer or something. I can see every information that I want to see, and I even have a live dashboard in my phone. Actually, I can wipe code her from my phone right now with Tailscale, but it doesn't work really good, but still works. But then I have like on the dashboard in the laptop, I can see everything. The dashboard, the live dashboard I built, I see it's offline or online. Oh, that's an old reference, so I can just like go to that one, and then I wrote to her like in Hermes or her terminal that, oh, you need to fix this right now because you forgot that one again. So,
Maybe when we release the fleet and compute, I don't know if you saw that piece that we built, but it's basically it's monitoring nodes, it's monitoring processes, models, really kind of the same sort of thing. Maybe you can help us refine that a little bit, but it's really the same thing, giving some observability to the agents and the underlying processes and systems. Because I think we all struggle with that, right? Understanding what's going on the system that you've just built. Somebody, hey, France.
Yep. I just wanted to, you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Awesome. All right. I just, as I said, I was working on a personal assistant for that Samuel today, and I think it's both, right? What Tom was stating right now. When you have the clutter, then control it to make sure you get it. But also from an input point of view, think about rules, right? Because it's so, as I said, or as I wrote, it's so little fun working with rules. But you got to have some folder, some shelf to put your stuff. If you don't have that from the beginning, it also you start getting clutter, right? So I think it's both. It's from the input and also checking the outputs to make sure that they are in the same in the spot they deserve.
Yeah. How many of you guys have been using Karpathy's LLM wiki? Because that's one of the elements in the base Resonant OS is the living archive. And I'm using like a modified version outside of that. As I'm building Resonant OS and the living archive inside of it, I've got my own archival structure. So what you guys think about the living archive, and are you guys using it? Because it's part of the system, and we need to refine it, expand it, make it, a central piece, or take it out.
Yeah, I'm not using Tom, but would be glad if you could show anytime, like explain how you are thinking on building and what has been built, because I think a lot about this, but it's too hard to organize information. It's not something easy, right? Especially information that don't have a structure. And how do you categorize things and organize things? And I'm thinking a lot about that. So maybe we could change something.
Yeah, I would like to have a work session on that and talk about the structure of the living archive and what we're using it for, because I've also built a document and library add-on, which goes into an unstructured folder and kind of does a read through. So you can just basically point it to a folder and say, hey, here's some stuff, kind of like in the coding environments where you put a base folder and then you start talking to the agent based on that context, but in a little more organized fashion. So I would like to get this data organization piece organized so that when we roll it out to the community, it's useful and it's optimal. We don't want it just to be there. We want it to be used, and we have to dog food it.
And doing that for like millions of people is harder yet, right? Because not millions, but for one person, it's already really difficult to organize all the information that you generate. How you do that for, I don't know, even hundreds of people, it still be hard.
Yeah.
It's for me, condensating for reducing information and having like small artifacts that they are not dense in terms of byte, but they're dense in terms of information. And this is not something that I know how to do, but it seems that the way it's how I'm thinking. Like, how can I have? Because it's not every piece of information that have some weight on what you are doing, right? The majority of the information is garbage, probably. And inside that garbage, there will be a piece of information that's relevant. And how do you gather all of that from different documents and knows what is relevant? And then you can, also this thing here is relevant. Let's promote to another level. And then you have different, from the same information, and have different layers. And in each layer, you do some refinement to get to this perfect piece of information, whatever that is. I think that thing exists, okay? It's something that I think is possible to do. And I'm trying some things here, but yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah. Well, I think we have some work to do. But I appreciate you guys being on today. I'm going to keep working. If you have any questions on the development track, I'm continuing to dig. I'm committing everything, and I'll send out some more reports on where I am. But everything is updated inside of GitHub. So if anybody's jumping in there, it's gotten to the point where it's fairly cleaned up, and the CI pipeline is enforcing everything, and we can start working and start banging on it. But definitely want to get focused on the living archive at some stage. Cool. Well, I guess we'll catch you guys tomorrow.
Yeah.
Unless anybody else has anything. A lot of folks on here, but otherwise I'll catch you guys tomorrow, and hope you have a good night.
Good night. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you. Good night.
Take care.
Okay, thank you. See you.